the worldwide osteopathic profession, as reflected by the Osteopathic International Alliance. We're delighted to congratulate Simon on this well-deserved award. I know all of you here understand and appreciate Simon's role in the advancement of the profession here in the UK, but may not be entirely aware of the contributions that he's made to the profession worldwide. You know, as Simon mentioned in his talk yesterday about some of the serendipitous nature of things that happen, and sometimes it's just about being in the right place at the right time. So Simon has been active in the international arena for the profession for well over 30 years. But I'm thinking back right now to one of those sort of right place, right time things that had a significant influence on the profession worldwide going forward. Once upon a time, Simon was chairing the Prince's Foundation for Integrative Health. And at that time, the foundation received a request from the World Health Organization for inputs to a developing document called Guidelines for Training in Chiropractic. And as it turned out, osteopathy was going to be bundled in under the umbrella of chiropractic for the purposes of this WHO document, which of course would have been very unfortunate for us. So Simon was able to alert us. At that time, we were just beginning the formative stages of the Osteopathic International Alliance. And we were able to arrange a meeting in May of 2004 in Geneva with the World Health Organization, and to convince them that osteopathy should be a distinct profession and should have its own guidelines and benchmarks. But this was the beginning of the process that brought us to the benchmarks as we know them today, published by WHO in 2010. And if it weren't for Simon being in the right place at the right time and knowing who to forward this, this might not have happened. I would also mention that we were just in the early stages of the formation of the Osteopathic International Alliance. In fact, the first organizing meeting occurred in Chicago in 2003. This was followed in 2004 by the first full meeting. And at that meeting, the initial board of the OIA was elected. And in fact, Simon was a founding member of that board, and served on it for a number of years. In fact, Simon was renominated for that position on the board by the American Osteopathic Association, interestingly enough. So Simon, on behalf of the OIA board, on behalf of the profession worldwide, my dear friend, we can't congratulate you enough on this well-deserved award.
I've made Simon cry a few times this weekend. Simon has worked tirelessly for over more than 45 years to advance the role and the standing of osteopathy both in the UK and overseas. No one has contributed more than Simon to the recognition of osteopathy. Achieving regulation of UK osteopathy in 1993 simply would not have been possible without the Herculean, false teeth, honestly, effort, thank you, spanning many, many years. He worked tenaciously and passionately for osteopaths' interests, managing to bring unity to a disunited profession, assuaging the fears and intrigue of other medical establishments, as well as successfully steering the political process of achieving regulation. And we now know in depth exactly how you got on with that. Once regulation was accomplished, he didn't stop there. He was appointed by ministers as the first chair of the GOSC and built it from the ground up from its formative years. He contributed greatly, both directly and indirectly, to education and the development of standards. He has lectured both domestically and internationally. Through his work as GOSC Chair, he worked with educational institutions and government departments to ensure high standards in osteopathic education. A staunch supporter of educational institutions and never one to miss an opportunity. Rumours abound that he was the mastermind behind securing royal patronage for these institutions through his various and illustrious connections. He continued to support the recognition and development of the profession in a variety of roles. He spent 13 years as a specialist advisor at the Department of Health and served on the Commission on Primary Care, the Academic Board of Exeter University Department of Health Studies, and the Education Board of the American Academy of Osteopathy. How did you get all in, Simon?
I don't recognise it.
No. Or you never slept. Simon has also played a leading role in developing and establishing the Osteopathic International Alliance, and as Boyd told us, served on the board for many years. Simon has many charitable interests and currently serves as the chair of the trustees of the College of Medicine, and I'm going to get this wrong, Simon, the Caros Rehabilitation Trust, which assists patients with chronic pain and complex long-term conditions. Recently, Simon has been appointed as acting chair of the Osteopathic Foundation and brings his experience of many years of working with the Foundation's predecessor, the Osteopathic Education Foundation. Simon has undoubtedly been a lifelong advocate and champion of osteopathy, the likes of which you only see generationally. I hope there's a few people ready to take over in the audience. He is immeasurably deserving of this award, and it is extremely fitting that on the 30th anniversary of his greatest achievement, he should be bestowed the 2023 President's Medal. So,
Well, it's not often I'm speechless, but I just can't believe that my good friend Boyd and Morris has kept this a secret. Morris did actually say he might ask me up to tell a funny story about some of the things that went on during the campaign, but none of those seem quite appropriate now. But what does come to mind as I was standing there, and this may not translate to everyone, but there's a great deceased comedian called Spike Milligan, and he was known for his zany sense of humour and very offbeat, so much so that his gravestone has written on it, "I told you I was ill." And some years ago he received a lifetime award for services to comedy, and he was quite old at the time. He came up on stage and he took his award and he said in his inimitable way, in a goon voice, he used to be part of the Goon Show, he said, "I just wanted to say, it's about bloody time." And he went on to say, "And I'm not going to thank anyone, but I did it all on my own." And as you know from my talk on Friday, that's not true. There are so many people, many of whom are in this room, that helped make it possible. There's actually gives me an opportunity. There is a gentleman on my table, Nigel Clark, who I did mention in my talk on Friday, who helped me through the political corridors and how the political process worked. I'm indebted to Nigel. He also took over as chair of the GOSC after I retired. And so I want to thank you, Nigel. He's over there. Just stand up for a second. friend, and I noticed this award, that it's not actually a clock, which is I'm very grateful for, because I always associate clocks with being put out to grass and retirement. I just want to say, continue to commit myself to the profession, and while I have breath in me, I will still do all I can to advance this wonderful profession that's given me so much. It's about service and giving back. And osteopathy has played, we heard some things about the serendipitous way osteopathy has managed to navigate the corridors. And for me personally, both professionally and privately, it's given me so much in my life. And it's been a privilege to serve. And I think one of the little anecdotes, if I may, I'll be killed later, but the way that osteopathy has played such a massive part in my life was that 16 years ago, I unexpectedly found myself single for the first time in 35 years. And my daughter, who clearly thought that I was becoming a grumpy old git, decided I should go on holiday. So I booked a holiday in a little taverna in Greece. And I was chatting to a couple at the bar on the first evening, and suddenly there was a tap on my shoulder. And I turned round, and this lovely lady was standing there, and she said, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" And I was just about to say, "Well, I don't think so." No, and that's the most, most unoriginal chat-up line I think I've ever heard. And then she said, "Can I ask where you live?" I said, "I live in Maidstone." "Oh, really?" She said, "My daughter went to college in Maidstone." I said, "Oh, is she at the art school?" No, she's an osteopath." And it transpired that this lovely lady had recognised me from 9 years before, when I was at her daughter's graduation. And I was there in my capacity as chair of the GOSC. And such a coincidence. And to cut a long story short, we fell in love, and I'm delighted to say she's my wife. So not only do I have you as my wonderful extended osteopathic family, I'm now deeply privileged to have Jane's daughter, Kate, as in my immediate family, and a much accomplished husband, John. So I have both an extended and immediate osteopathic family. I owe osteopathy everything. So thank you for this. I can't tell you